Hi, I'm just going to quickly show you how the SkillsTx SaaS solution supports employees when they're looking at their skill profile and they're managing and updating their development action plans. So here on the screen, you can see I'm logged in as a test user in the system. Sophia Lawrence, and who's a team leader, she's a project manager in this organization. I can see on this screen, the My Sophia profile screen, that she has self-assessed as having autonomy at level 5. And you see as I hover over these, it gives me the Sophia descriptions, influence at level 4, complexity at 5, and so on. So that's the generic levels of responsibility. If I scroll down a bit further, you'll see the specific Sophia professional skills. And you can see specialist advice as the first skill, fully possessed at levels 4 and 5, project management 4, 5, and 6, portfolio and project support, so fully developed at levels 2 and 3, and largely developed, so still some room for development at levels 4 and 5. So that's the first piece that an individual user would look at, their skill profile. And of course, they can edit it. It's their skill profile. They own their skill profile. They can edit it and update it as their skills change over time. We do have the functionality for endorsed profiles as well, but I'm not going to go into that at this stage. I want to show you just how a user would use the system if they wanted to start looking at their potential skill gaps and creating their development action plan. So the first thing they can do is they could overlay the requirements of their job, either a current job or a future job for longer term career planning. They can overlay that visually onto their current skill profile, and they can see where the required skill levels are, and they can see where they stand against those, and do that for the generic levels of responsibility plus the individual skills. They'll see some skills that maybe are not needed in the role, but they have them. They'll find other skills where perhaps there's a gap. They're needed in the role and they have them partially developed or not developed at all. So first initial visual view of how their skill profile compares with the requirements for a job or role profile. The next logical place for them to go is in the left-hand side here to the My Action Plan section. So this is where an individual switches from keeping their skill profile up to date to looking in a bit more detail at the skill gaps between their current skills and the skills that are required in a particular job or role, and then deciding which actions they need in their development action plan to address any of those gaps. So in this middle panel here, I'm just going to switch it to self-assess profile. We're looking at the current job description. So this would be a common starting point for most individuals. You want to see how you compare with the requirements of your current role, because they're probably your highest priority development actions. So here we can see there are a few gaps here. Prof 4, so portfolio program and project support at level 4 is required by the role, but this individual doesn't have it yet. So, and I can see from the little red crosses, they don't have anything in their action plan to address that gap yet and haven't completed that. Other gaps further down, you can see some green ticks that shows that they've actually got something in their plan which is designed to help them close that skill gap. And with some of the actions they're completed as well. But let's focus on this one at the top that hasn't been achieved. So a couple of options here. If we look on the right hand side, we've got the add action section. There's a custom set of actions, or there's predefined actions. So within custom, you can pick from the type. So it might be a training course, it might be some research, some hands-on experience, coaching, whatever it might be. You pick the particular type, give it a name. Maybe I want to watch Fred while he's doing his next portfolio review. So I type that in the name, bit of a description, give it a target date, confirm which skill or skills it's going to help me develop, and then add it to my action plan. Predefined actions are where things are already been mapped to SFIA. They might be an internal training course or activity. They could be some training or some certification from an external body, maybe the training provider that your organization has a relationship with. So if I click on the little hourglass symbol, the magnifying glass symbol rather, that will highlight the particular actions that are relevant to this gap. So you can see here there's some courses here from Skillsoft. So this one, Adopting Prince 2, that one's targeted for Prof 4, which is the particular gap that we're looking at, and helps with some of the other skills as well. So I could, from here, I can click onto the supplier's website, I can click for more information, all sorts of things. Once I'm happy with that as an action, I can click on it, set a date, add it to my action plan. And then at the top of the screen, you can see the action plan, a bit like a Kanban board. You've got some actions that are to do, they haven't been started yet. You've got some that are in progress, and you've got others that are being completed. And the idea is that the individual would edit these actions, keep them up to date, change target dates, record the fact they've completed them, whatever it might be. So that's it from a user's point of view. Shows you how they can use SFIA aligned content, so mapped interventions, in their own development action plan. There's also some other functionality here on the left hand side for managers. So if the individual happens to be a manager of other people, they will be able to go into this section on My People and see the skill profiles and the action plans of their teams. We give them a set of analytics to help them with that as well. And if I logged into the administration console, I would see it from an organizational perspective. So maybe from a learning and development manager's perspective, looking at all of the actions and making decisions on which courses could be run internally because there's sufficient numbers of people that need to attend them, all sorts of other things like that. So lots of good analytics on what the gaps are. Okay, so that was a really quick overview from an individual's perspective, which I hope you found useful.